Welcome to this presentation of UPSL Soccer Action, live on YouTube and presented by the Atlantic Soccer Media Group.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this UPSL Premier Division matchup between Atletico Buford Atletico Buford and FC Columbus. Now, if you are able to, please rise for the playing of the national anthem.
And it is almost poetic the way the wind accompanies the national anthem of the United States. Yes, it is windy here in Shiloh, Snellville, and we will see a game between two teams that are fighting for different positions in the standings. On one side, Columbus Elite, fighting to not be relegated, fighting to not have to go down and fight in another competition against different teams in the next year. And then Atletico Buford, what a season for them. 19 points in 8 games. They're trying with this win, if they obtain one today, to maintain that essential distance from Kalonji Pro Profile, which only has 6 games and 13 points. So, of course, if they do win 2 games, they'd go up to 19, tying up with Atletico Buford. No mistakes are allowed. Kalonji Pro Profile made some at the beginning of the season, something you're not very used to see from them because of the greatness of their program, the greatness of the quality of players they've always had. And this year, they found a good challenge, and that challenge is called Atletico Buford. Atletico Buford, they're playing with a 4-2-3-1. They're wearing white. Mejia in goal, Nico, Chirinos, Elizalde, Carlos in defense, Vargas, Castro, Chavarria, Neira, and Repalo in midfield, and finally Suazo up there with number 9, Christian Suazo. On the other side, for Columbus Elite, today wearing pink and purple. Jackson in goal, Jefferson, Isaias, Aiden, Osman, defense, Griffin, Daniel, Jaden, midfield, and finally, starting from right to left, Noah, Freddie, and Devin will be in offense. And we're getting ready to start. Important game, very important game for both teams. The motivations are high. the stakes are very high. It will be Suazo to touch this first ball of the game, passing it back to Neira. We've said it, Atletico Buford doing a heck of a season with 19 points. On the other side, we have FC Columbus Elite, 7 points in 8 games. They have had a tough time. They're being chased behind them by Georgia Athletic, who, fortunately for FC Columbus Elite, are also struggling. Only 3 points in 8 games. And you know in soccer how much it matters to have a positive psychological energy going for you. And right now, Georgia Athletic is not there. But the ball is round. Throw for Columbus Elite. Columbus Elite comes from 2 positive results. They won against the Georgia Impact 4-2, and also they beat. They came from another 2-1 win, and so they are in great shape right now, ready to get points away from Atletico Buford. Maybe with this corner, they might find the first net of the day. Conversation here with the ref. Not sure if the ball had been placed too forward. That's something that happens in these occasions. But here comes the scheme. 2 arms raised. Ball in the middle. It's a long cross. You always want a cross to be tense in order to allow the striker just to have to touch it to put it in, but this one was way too high. Trying to get off of that pressure. And you can immediately tell the quality of a team by how easily they get off of the pressure of the opposition. We've seen it now. It's a new style of playing soccer, this pressing high. And this, it brings the defenders and the midfielders to have to be able to work with their feet, move the ball quick, one side to the other. Open spaces like in this case. Jorge playing it on the other side. Elizalde. Columbus Elite compact, trying to close all the possible spaces, and this is a nice opening. We can see a cross in the middle, the cut! And that's a good clearance. Just enough to get it out of Suazo's movement. Also risky. That ball could have gone in. Corner kick now on the other side. Fabio Neira, the specialist, goes short. Here goes the ball in the middle. Suazo misses the right impact with the ball, but he's dangerous up there. They need to be careful to him. Jackson takes his time. Chirinos. Osman on the ball. Leaves it for his teammate. Daniel. Long ball, too long. And that's a nice find of space, but then the technical mistake there doesn't allow him to continue in that offensive strategy. Alessandro Castro, Chirinos, Elizalde, Varga. They try to find the triangle unsuccessfully. And so here comes the opportunity. Shot from the distance, deflection, and we'll see if that ball goes in corner. No, it's a throw. A great attempt on the side of Freddie, who tried to find a play that would have surprised Kevin Mejia. It's not a corner, it's a throw. Jaden will be taking care. Here he goes, long in the middle. And here comes the opportunity. Decides not to shoot. Now they go. The placement of the ball was good. They waited a little bit longer. Mejia had the time to read that ball. A little too slow. Vargas. He's the play of his team. Looking for verticalization. Here he goes on the side. 3. Stop him. The ball is played wide. Again intercepted. And here's a chance for a counterattack. Chirinos is ready, though. Mejia. Vargas. Elizalde. Carlos. Vargas. For Alessandro Castro. Vargas, Nico. Looks for one of his players in the middle. Jackson is there. Good job by him coming out of the goal, because that was a ball behind the back of the defender, always tough to read. And the role of the extra defender, the last defender, was essential right there. We're in November. The temperature is nice, not cold yet. Perfect to be playing soccer. Perfect to allow the teams to show the best they got. Nico with a one-toucher. And the goalkeeper comes out again. That was perfect by him. It would have been the offender by himself in front of the goal. And he stopped it right away. So far, this was the biggest opportunity of the game. The quick pass by Nico had been perfectly served. And here comes another opportunity. Shot! Here comes the goal by Carlos Chavarria. Amazing serving for him in the middle. He doesn't think too much about it. Waits for the ball to bounce, place itself, shoots it. Nothing, absolutely nothing to do for Jackson. 1-0 for Atletico Buford. And now the tactics the game, the way they had prepared it, Columbus Elite, it's going to have to change. Of course, when you're playing against one of the top teams in the division, you want to be careful. You don't want to concede. You want them to get stressed out. You know, they're not scoring. They get stressed out. You let them go in at the first half with a 0-0. And here comes, for a second I thought it was a shot, but he just gave the ball back to Mejia. Of course, they're going to have to change their tactics because now Atletico Buford is on top. And if I see this going the way it's going, Atletico Buford is going to look for a second goal and maybe a third to close and lock the game. And in this moment, Columbus Elite needs to hold it together, let the fury be contained, and then strategically look for their next opportunity. As this one. Chaos there, but it's still Columbus Elite. Ball widened up very nicely, and it's offside. What an opportunity. Noah was there, ready to open up with his right foot. Good call by the ref. Carlos. Chavarria. Here they go, with speed, with pace. On the side. Could go for the cross in the middle. Waits too long. Jackson comes out of his goal. Very comfortable coming out of his goal. So far, good performance by him. No faults on the goals received. Osman. Misses the pass there, Osman. Lets it be intercepted. Here comes Chavarria, across in the middle. Chavarria. And then that is fabulous defending by Aiden, who closes up there and says no. That one is not going by. Long ball by Aiden. Mejia. Elizalde. Vargas. Chirinos. Calma, says the coach. No hurry. And of course, Atletico Buford will be looking at the game that will be played tonight at 7:30 between Kalonji Pro Profile and Pachuca, Georgia. We've said it, Kalonji Pro Profile, one of the expected teams to always win the league. Right now, they're third, just behind Pachuca, Georgia. And of course, that's going to be a game that will determine how easy or difficult the win of the league will be for Atletico Buford. But knowing Kalonji Pro Profile, they will be hard to kill. Tonight they're going to come here to give it all. Elizalde looking for solutions. He finds one and goes 1-2. Another long ball. That's been their strategy so far. Chirinos. Vargas with a tough ball to stop. He decides to put it out instead of risking losing it in a tough area of the field. Here he comes, Freddie. Takes that throw. He had two players around him. It's the best he could do. Daniel almost loses it, but manages to put his teammate in a good position. Tries that extra dribble, too much for him. Still Columbus Elite. Daniel calling for movements, then decides to switch it up horizontally. Aiden. Osman. Aiden goes long. And again, these long solutions, they're going to have to be careful to those because they're losing way too many balls. And giving it back to the opposition. Osman. Goes in the middle. Terrible mistake by Osman, who serves an opportunity, and that is clearly a foul. And then we will have to need to figure out if it was in the box or not. It looks like it will be a free kick. But how close was that? Fabulous interception by Neira, who takes on the mistake of Osman. Goes in, dribbles 1, 2, and then the foul was committed just outside of the box, defended by the goalkeeper. Yellow card. There's also a yellow card, and that is fair. Yellow card for Aiden, who stopped what could have been a goal for Atletico Buford. And right now, at this moment, I see Aldair Repalo on the ball, but I also see Yahir Elizarde. To be honest, from that position, you can get either a left foot or a right foot. And at this moment, Columbus Elite is placing a player near the post. Here comes Elizalde! Yahir Elizalde! Rocket by Elizalde. What are you going to do about that? Stare at it and enjoy the view. What a bomb. You thought they were going to go for that precision shot in the top right, and then out of nowhere, Elizalde decides to let a rocket shift from his left foot. Absolute power. Just enjoy that. That might go as well in between top goals of the week. I don't know who's making that list, but I'll send them a message and I'll let them know to put this at least in top 3. That was beautiful. 2-0 for Atletico Buford. And at this moment, Atletico Buford would be going at 22 points in 9 games. So Kalonji Pro Profile has no choice but win tonight. They can't tie. They need to win to keep this race going. And it's intriguing to see how Atletico Buford switches the ball around and about, defense and midfield, and then all of a sudden there's a click, boom. They find quick solutions up there, just like this one. Here comes the one-on-one, or maybe a cross in the middle. Ball stopped there with hand. It's a foul. Yep. And I wonder if right now Atletico Buford is going to continue attacking and try to capitalize on this moment of weakness of Columbus Elite, or they will decide to maintain some of their energies for these last upcoming games, as everyone matters from now on. High pressure by them. Long one again. Another ball lost. This time it was a foul. He was a bit lucky there, and the referee was a bit generous on Griffin as he was keeping the ball a little too long. He'll come to cross in the middle. Everybody placed in the box. That's a good one. And Jaden almost gets that right impact with the ball. Misses it by inches. .23 minutes on the clock, 2-0 for Atletico Buford. Jorge goes by himself with speed. Ball stopped well, turned around. Nice play. Good moment for Atletico Buford. And that is a good switch. Outside, though. The ref was closer than I was. Great idea. Things are coming out for them. Only 2 players on the bench for Columbus Elite. Many more for Atletico Buford. They're more prepared on the bench for this game. And with a little bit of luck, they get a good throw. Noah. Kevin thinks about going in the middle, then goes back. Good stop. Daniel passes it wide. Occasion for a shot. Ball lost. And now counterattack. Chavarria opens out wide. Can go by himself or cross in the middle. He decides to go by himself. Gets away from the goalie. Christian. Suazo. 3-0. And now the hopes of Columbus Elite are going out of the window because Atletico Buford is playing real soccer in Snellville. If they play the way they're playing right now, it's not a matter of Columbus Elite. It's not a matter of Georgia Impact, Georgia Revolution, call it. Even Kalonji Pro Profile would have a hard time playing against these folks today. Nico had to jump over the fence to get the ball for himself. Chirinos for Elizalde. The Rocket Man, Elizalde. We were talking about the games in Zone 1, but Zone 2 is very interesting right now. With Potros, they won all the games, and Wednesday, everybody thought they were going to lose 2-1. They were losing. They tied towards the end, and then in the extra minutes given by the ref, they score a goal, which is taken out for offside, and then the decision is overturned, which made Potros win the game against Scenic City 3-2. And of course, that game had great implications as Atlanta United is trying to chase Potros. Potros is also in the fourth round, in the fourth qualifying round of the U.S. Open Cup. And after this next game, which they will probably win because they're looking great, the real deal is going to start. Real tough games. Real tests. For Zone 2, we'll also see Birmingham FC versus North Georgia today at 4:30. We'll see SSL versus Atlanta United. And again, Potros versus Scenic City. Columbus Elite keeping their balance very low right now. Chavarria. Elizalde. Could go in the middle, thinks about it, then does it. Way too long. Another mistake. And they can't do these because they're ready to take advantage of them. Here's another chance and another goal. But this time it's offside. Another mistake as they're building up the action, Columbus Elite. They need to stop doing that. They need to be more careful because the pressure is high in Atletico Buford. We've seen it. They're taking these opportunities. They're not waiting for Columbus Elite to pull it back together and rebuild their defense. They're coming. They're scoring. And this time they were graced by the fact that Devin was slightly offside. Elizalde keeping the ball, dribbling all around himself. Alessandro Castro loses it. There's no foul here. Good opportunity for Columbus Elite. And then Noah decides not to pass the ball. A bit of frustration on the side of Jaden, who was asking for it. Another offside. This time they played well the trap of the offside, and Suazo fell for it. Daniel, again, miscommunication with Freddie. Ball switched up. Jorge Chirinos calling for Kevin. Of course, referring to Kevin Vargas to lower up and help them build that action. Nice back foot here. He goes by himself, then forgets about the ball. Jaden opens. Ball switched up. A good idea. Now Noah has some space. Noah versus two. We could go in the middle or go for the shot. Noah goes inside. And that was perfectly read by Chirinos. Impeccable defending. Ball switched up again now on the other side. It's Chavarria. Chavarria. Chavarria! With the Panenka Chavarria. Champagne soccer by Atletico Buford. Open the bottles. Ball switched up on the other side. Chavarria waits. Waits and waits. And then there's some piece of magic to put the goal in the net again and prove that this Atletico Buford is unplayable. (4-0) at this moment, and it's only 35 minutes on the clock. 4-0. More than one goal every 10 minutes. They're spoiling us here, Atletico Buford. And we see a player on the ground. Not something the coach likes to see on a 4-0. Probably we'll see a substitution. In any case, just to be sure they don't receive any injury in a game that at this point they own. Chavarria is there for his teammate, making sure he's fine, making sure either he can continue the game or relax for the next 55 minutes on the bench as his team is doing very well. And just think about his recovery. I already see some movement from the bench. That makes me believe there will be a substitution. And it's interesting, since we're on a break right now, to see how many minutes are actually played in a soccer game. Everybody knows they last 90 minutes, then there's the added time. But really, the league that plays the most minutes is La Bundesliga. They play 61. Then we have the English Premier League, where they play between 55 and 60. Then La Liga, 58 minutes. The English Championship, so the second division of the Premier League, 57 minutes. And finally, last, the Serie A, where they play 56 minutes. And that tells you how referees and the styles of play determine the length of a game and the way games are played in each division. Osman. Again, another mistake by Osman. And I see Suazo came out of the field for number 18. Osman has been looking for that solution in the middle, and he's done two mistakes at this point. Another great pass. And this time he can't reach it. But Osman has been looking for that solution in the middle, where they pass the ball outside on the line of the 25. He looks for Daniel or Griffin. He doesn't find them. And the problem is, when you lose the ball in that position of the field, you're uncovered. You're allowing the opposition to be able to shoot out and find a goal. He needs to be more careful. Goes by himself. Then finally crosses. Nobody in the middle. That's not a good clearance. The ball is still there. It's not over. Maybe a shot from the distance will do it. Deflection. And the ball goes out. Corner. Signs of life from Columbus Elite. Here it comes. And I believe there was a touch on the side of Jaden. But then it was Mejia to touch it last and put it outside. Another corner. Another chance. Curving in. Another nice one. And here's the goal by Columbus Elite. They don't celebrate too much because it's the goal of the 4-1. But after deflection comes the goal. That's one that will do it, at least for the morale of the team right now. And it was scored by Osman. 4-1. Goal by Osman. Daniel doesn't want to give it out. Receives a foul. The distance is still massive, but of course, scoring a goal 5 minutes before going in the locker room is always a positive sign. Wide up. Osman again. Nice ball. Mine, yours, yours, mine. A misunderstanding, but it's still theirs. Here they come. Could cross in the middle. Lets it in. Deflection, and then the goalie comes out. Devin was on it too. Better for Columbus Elite. Nico. Chirinos. Pressure by Jaden. Chirinos gets out. Ball played back. They're trying to slow down the game at this point. They need to be careful because they're doing the same mistakes that costed the Columbus Elite 4 goals. But that was way too easy for Mejia to save. Griffin on pressure. Nico. Vargas. Alessandro Castro. Keeps it. His teammates calling him for a pass. Nada. 1-2. Nada loses it. And the ball is played too long for Jaden, who looked discouraged on that mistake. Nada. Vargas. Griffin on pressure. Nico. Out wide. Loses the duel in favor of Aiden. Jackson goes long. Griffin waits for it, but is anticipated. Alessandro Castro. Repalo. Wide, Chavarria. Castro, Chavarria. Chavarria goes long. Jackson, easy. Ball missed. Overlap. Out wide, Nico. Crosses in. Gets the deflection, but the ball is still on the field. And then Griffin needs to manage that one. He keeps it. Again, dribbles. Class by Griffin. It's the end of the first 45 minutes of the game. We'll see how much time the referee will still allow to be played. Another ball lost as they could have done a counterattack. Alessandro Castro. Castro loses it. Aiden once again with the right timing puts it out. Repalo. Goes in. Neda. Again, another great pass offside. But the vision they have in those last 30 yards tells you the quality of this offense. The imagination, the creativity, the understanding of each other's movements. That has to be the best offense in this league. They're playing another sport. Isaias. Wide. Noah puts it down very well. Osman. Looks for a switch up. Probably not the best idea since there were two players on the other side marking Devin. The referee puts the whistle in his mouth, and I believe that as soon as Mejia will kick the ball, or even before, he calls the end of the first half. Great first half, 5 goals in total, 15 minutes of break. We'll let the players get a warm, hot tea, and then we'll see you back soon. Oh man, what a first half. What a first half. 5 goals. You don't see that in soccer very often. That means we had more than a goal every 10 minutes. Well, if you want to see more, there's probably going to be more in this second half. I don't know on what side. I just know there is going to be more. And we're about to start because 50 minutes is 50 minutes. I already see Jaden on the ball, and their team is going to need a reaction, which they had in the last 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes of the first half. It looked like they were pulling it back together. It looked like they were more compact. It looked like they were playing more as a team. And to be fair, Atletico Buford was taking off the foot from the accelerator, and the car wasn't going as smoothly and as fast as it was in the first 35 minutes, where they looked unbeatable. Unbeatable. Jaden fakes it. Basically, all the team of Atletico Buford was in the opposition's half, but the referee didn't think it was needed to start all over again, even though the rules of soccer would call for that to happen. Switched up. And unfortunately for him, Noah's not able to stop that ball. Elizalde. Vargas. Chirino. Elizalde again, the protagonist of, I would have said the goal of the day, and then we saw an absolute piece of class by Chavarria. Here they come again. With the back of his foot. It's good serving. Shot! And the post is hit. The outside of the post. There was no touch on the side of Jackson. We saw Suazo coming out in the first half. Number 18 substituted him. And here he had his first chance of marking his name on the scoreboard. Oh, that's a mistake right there. And not taken. But the referee calls, I believe, for the foul. Chavarria. No, not Chavarria. We'll look at the replay. Maybe that will help us to figure out exactly what happened because it was all so quick. It all happened so quickly. And we see one player on the ground, and we're not sure who it is. And it was Neira. It looks like there will be no foul. We will go back to play. Neira will have to go outside of the field until the referee will give him the permission to be back on. Jaden. Long again. Griffin puts it down. Nice, Griffin. Here comes the movement by Osman. Griffin switches up. Here it comes. Opportunity to cross. Would be nice to have a blazed cross in the middle. They wait. Jaden tries to go out. Brings the ball with him. Castro. Castro again. Good job to go away there and pass the ball quickly. Then goes long, Castro. Hall in the middle of the field. Daniel switches for Noah. Noah with the pressure of Nico behind him. Passes the ball, and they lose it. But there was a foul. And that's a good position. And, of course, finding the goal of the 4-2 right now with more than 40 minutes to play would be significant. And would put some extra pepper on this game. Jaden. Could go for a shot, even, or a cross in the middle. Here comes with his right foot, goes for the shot. Deflections. The ball is still in, dangerously in the box, and then taken out. Nice 1-2. And that is perfect by Jefferson. Triangle there. Jefferson gets his team to come out. Here they go, Griffin. The ball is too long for him. Chirinos. 52 minutes on the clock. Much to play still. Elizalde thinks about it. Nobody comes on pressure. So you can gather his thoughts and go back to Mejia. The ball is in. And it still is, unbelievably. Chaos in there. Jaden gets the ball back. Almost loses it. And with a tackle, gives a great assist on the other side for Chavarria. Chavarria. Goes away from one and makes him fall. Then goes back. Ball switched up, and there he should have passed it because he did not have the space and the time to kick that ball properly. A little selfish. Daniel. Griffin. Thinks about it, then goes again for Daniel. Elizalde. Always gets enough time to think. Neira. Seems like he's doing well now, even though he misses the pass. Ball back. Mejia for Elizalde, the classic. Carlos misses. So here comes Devin, but Carlos recovers. Waits for the best solution and finds it. It's called Alessandro Castro. Another wonderful ball for Chavarria. Could go in the middle. Chavarria goes in the middle. He does, and then it's missed. That would have been it. Very generous there, Chavarria. Griffin. Another ball for Alessandro Castro. This time he was in offside. He was looking for his opportunity too. Of course, Chavarria was around there too. Substitution. In the meantime, we see Elizalde leaving the field. Author of a beautiful goal today from the free kick, Elizalde. Offside. Chirinos. Vargas. Neira. Receives a foul, but we can continue for the advantage. Columbus Elite trying to put some pressure, looking for solutions. Griffin goes away from one player, Griffin, then opens up very well. Intercepted. Nice fake there. Wow. Wonderful technical play. He fakes, going in the middle, continues running Carlos Gerardo, and then nutmegs Osman. Chavarria, one of the most dangerous players on the field, and this is why Chavarrias goes wide this time. The change of pace. Very few players have that right now in this league. He goes from 0 to 50 in 1 second. Guys like that, defenders, they fear them because they might just invent out of nowhere. He must be careful there not to lose it. Long ball. Griffin takes it with strength, then passes. Noah, there could be a handball there, and he calls for it. But the ref indicates to continue playing, and Mejia is ready. Osman for Jaden. Neira. And they got to be careful because it's a 3v3 now. Neira. Nice ball for Chavarria. Long touch, rough touch, offside. Griffin. Again for Noah. Noah finds the way to stop the ball in. Passes it for Jaden. Jaden surrounded by players. Jaden shoots. Bounce back on the defender. Osman goes in. Griffin puts it out. Was way too far away from the goal. It wasn't a bad cross, but the ball was a bit too high for him, and he didn't find the impact, which, by the way, even if it had been placed correctly, that was a far distance from the goal to score with a header. Chirinos. Mejia. Griffin tries to get another one, but this time Neda defends it properly. At least on the first contrast. Chirinos. Jackson out once again with the perfect timing. Again, none of the goals could be blamed on Jackson. Solid performance by him. But between the magic of Chavarria, the bomb of Elizalde, and the other two occasions that brought Suazo to score, there was not much on his side to be done. Jaden. Isaias. Goes in for Griffin. Griffin with one touch. Jefferson. Not sure where to go. With the outside of his foot, looking for Jaden. Wow, beautiful way to get out of that situation with one touches. And here's a good ball. He's got the space. Neda, and then they call the offside as he was getting in front of the goal. I'm interested to know why that call happened so late. But Neda passed the ball inside, and then, yes, it was offside. That ball should have probably been in anyways. A substitution will be made. Alessandro Castro leaves the field. Very solid performance by him. '68th minute on the clock. Carlos Gerardo. Gets anticipated, Carlos Gerardo. And here he goes. He's dangerous technically when he gets the ball on his feet. Griffin, counterattack. This is a real chance. Could open up on the right and on the left and decides to give it back to the opposition. Jaden wins it again. Goes for the shot. Jaden. Powerful. Precise. Just not enough. Vargas. Chirinos. Neira. Surrounded by purple's players in pink and purple. Still manages to get out Neira. Coach asking to move the ball quickly to avoid slips like this could have potentially been. Of course, the game is more balanced right now, but we need to take into consideration that there is a 3-goal difference. Handball. The ref was just in front of the action. Couldn't miss that. And that's a very good ball to win. Could go in the middle by himself, and that's clearly a foul. The referee says, no, get up. Wow. Wow, what an opportunity. Chavarria by himself. Falls on the ground. The ref once again doesn't call for the foul. Griffin now. Could open for Noah. Keeps it too long. He does receive the foul, and then he commits one of his own. I think the foul was initially called for him, and then he does fairly get a yellow card. He shouldn't have reacted that way. Played quickly. The ref doesn't want that. If you want to call this game open, you need to score now. Ball comes in. Griffin is there. And then the shot. The perspective told me that was going in. It didn't. What a beautiful coordination to hit the ball with the perfect impact. I'm sure Mejia was just looking at that, and between himself maybe had one or two prayers for that to go out. Somebody was listening to those prayers. The ball went out, but what a shot. What a shot. And what a goal we could have seen. Gerardo Carlos. Again for him. Technically very gifted, this player. Too much time there. Nice play in overlap. And this one has to be a foul. Now let's take into consideration that this time we will not have Elizalde. Left foot Rocky man. Elizalde will have someone else kicking it. In the meantime, Devon comes out for Columbus Elite. And we see Chip coming in with number 11. With the right foot, and Jackson this time says no. Another great free kick, but definitely he had a say on this one. And he made it clear what his position was. Ball out, ball in. Here it comes. Jackson. Safety on this game. If his team is not losing for more than 4 goals, they owe it to this guy over here. What a great performance in goal by Jackson. Griffin there. Loses a tough ball. Chavarria. Jackson. And somebody will go back, look at the statistics of this game, and think that the goalkeeper must have done some mistake. But how many times did he come out and save his team with the right reading? Or making himself longer in the right moment to save a goal in the top corner. Sometimes soccer is unfair. 4 goals, you receive 4 goals. Well, it's not always the fault of the goalkeeper. This time, perfect performance by Jackson. Another substitution, also for Atletico Buford. I believe it is Chirinos, Jorge Chirinos, to leave the field. "13 minutes to play, and the destiny of this game seems written." Again, Columbus Elite may be able to find one other goal, but because of the development we've seen in these last 78 minutes, it is really hard to believe that Columbus Elite will find a way around this 3-goal difference. Interesting, because we saw 5 goals in the first half. In 45 minutes, we saw 5 goals, but in the second half, we haven't seen any in 22. "32, pardon. Ball out wide for Carlos Gerardo. He deserves one too. He'll probably go in for the cross. Does Chavarria. Easy for Chavarria, who finds the second goal of his day. Not as glamorous and charming as the first one, but still, a goal that you count at the end of the season, a goal that makes you happy when you look at the stats. 5-1 for Atletico Buford over Columbus Elite. Again, really, at this point, I wonder if Atletico Buford will go out to eat a pizza and at the same time stream the game between Kalonji Pro Profile. It will be very interesting to see who comes out victorious between Kalonji and Pachuca. A tie is probably the best result Atletico Buford could be hoping for. Keep everybody distant. Ball on the right. Played quickly. Here it comes. Chavarria on the other side, of course. Is he going to score another one? Chavarria passes it back. And once again, the right choice for Chavarria. That brings to another goal. And now it is not looking good for Columbus Elite. 6-1. This time the goal was made by Neira, Fabio Neira. But it always feels that Chavarria has a little touch, a little say, a little presence in all of the goals. Man of the match, Chavarria, and I can say that with still 7 minutes left to play. Man of the match, Carlos Chavarria with number 10. And when you score 2 goals, you serve assists, it's hard to put your performance in comparison with anybody else on the team. You could have argued maybe Elizalde because of the solid performance and defense and that wonderful bomb in the top corner on the left. But they did receive that goal in the last 5 minutes. Doesn't take away from his performance, but once we're comparing it between him and Chavarria, we have to recognize that Chavarria had no mistakes. He had literally the game every attacker would want to have. Columbus Elite did have a few chances to open back the game, but soccer is like this. If you miss one, you receive one. And I did say there were going to be more goals. I didn't know where they were going to come from. But you can turn off the TV or the streaming device you're using saying Massimo Bellou, the commentator of the game, was not lying. Ball wide. Chavarria in the middle, of course. This time the cross is long and it goes directly outside. It's not always Sunday, we say in Italy. Non è sempre domenica, which means that things don't always come out your way. Sometimes it is Monday. Deflection. Ball back in the hands of Jackson. Only 5 minutes left to play. Osman. Shot from the distance. And we'll need to check out on the medical condition of that bird that was flying above the goal. And I see Chavarria probably missed the first pass of his game. Something noteworthy after that unbelievable performance he just pulled off. Carlos Gerardo, Chavarria, Carlos Gerardo. Comes in. Back to Chavarria. Can go for the shot, Chavarria. And then on the tap-in. Again, Jackson. And tell me I wasn't mentioning the performance of this goalkeeper. One to be looking at. Real talent. In this moment, Columbus Elite is holding its soul with their teeth. Carlos Gerardo in the middle. And Jackson comes out, saves it with his face. Another magnificent save by the number one in yellow. Again, Jackson. He decided to raise the wall on that goal in these last minutes. 6 is enough for today. Again, we've said it. None of it was his fault. Could have been worse. We saw Atlanta United Academy beating Dalton United 9-1. It does happen. You have a bad day. You get punished. Unfortunately for them, Jackson is doing things that in this division you don't see very often from goalkeepers. Here comes the corner, rotating on the inside. Ball in. I I think it was Chavarria reaching that one because he was marked. He hit the ball above the post. Ball was outside. At this point, there's very little to play. I wonder if the referee will give added time. Played long. Jefferson. Eleven keeps it in. Goes back to Jefferson. Jefferson fights for that one and receives a foul. Daniel. Goes in, Daniel. And the game is over. Atletico Buford beats Columbus Elite 6-1. Magnificent goal. Man of the match, Chavarria. But if we had to look at the performance on the other team for Columbus Elite, shout out to Jackson. Amazing performance among the goal. And again, soccer is a tough sport. The result and the statistics are not always on your side. Great game. Tune in for the one against between Kalanji Pro Profile and Pachuca, Georgia. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Massimo Balou.
This has been a presentation of the UPSL. Any use of this broadcast without the written consent of the Atlantic Soccer Media Group is prohibited.